Hello everyone, welcome to Tech and Target. I'm Hemant, and in this video, we will be solving coding questions that were asked in Mindtree. So a quick note before solving the questions. So we have already uploaded a video of aptitude questions that were asked in Mindtree. So if you haven't watched that video yet, the link of that video is in the description. So please go ahead and watch that video. So now let's get started with this video. Now coming to the first question, the question says, so we have to complete a given function average. We have to complete a given function average that finds the average of the first p multiples of the integer n. So that particular function takes two parameters. Both of them are of type integers. The first is n and p. The second one is p. Both of them represent the integers, and we have to return an integer denoting the average of the multiples of a given number, right? So average of the p multiples of the given number. Okay, so we will see it with an example, and then we will try to get the approach of it, right? So if this is the value of n and if this is the value of p, so this should have been 18 here. Okay, so this is your value of n and this is your value of p. Now what we have to do is we have to firstly find what is the sum of the first p multiples. In this case, first 5 multiples of 6, and then we have to divide it by p because we want to find the average. And what are the number of elements currently that we are solving here? So we are solving with 5, right? So 5, which is basically p. So what we need to do is, so we have to find the sum of first p multiples, right? So this is the first multiple. What is the second multiple? It is 12. And what is the third multiple? It is 18. And what is the fourth multiple? It is 24. And what is the fifth multiple? It is 30, right? So we'll go on till first p multiples, and then after that, since they're not asking the sum but instead they're asking us the average, we have to divide the sum of these p multiples with p, right? So with p. So in this case, what is the value of p? The value of p that we have got is 5. So we will divide this entire thing by 5, right? If you add this, it would turn out to be 90. And if you divide it by 5, 5 ones are 5, and then 5 ones are 5, this would turn out to be 40, and 5 8s are 40. So 18 5s are 90. So basically we will be returning 18 as our answer to this particular test case. Now coming to the second test case, n is 3 and p is 5 again, right? Now how do you do this? First we will find out the sum of first p multiples of n, and then we will divide it by p, which is 5 again. So first multiple is 3, second multiple is 6, and third multiple is 9, fourth multiple is 12, and then fifth multiple is 15. Now once we are done with finding the sum, we will divide it by p, which is again 5 in this case. So if you do this, you will get 9 as an answer. So you just have to return that as your answer. Now coming to the third test case, so value of n is 9 and the value of p is again 5. Okay, so we have to find the sum of first 5 multiples of 9, and then we have to divide it by 5 again because the value of p is 5 in this test case as well. So basically the first multiple is 9, the second multiple 9 2s are 18, the third multiple is 27, the fourth multiple is 9 4s are 36, and the fifth multiple is 9 5s are 45. So once we are done with finding the sum of this, then we have to divide that by p, which is again 5 in this case as well. So if you do that, we will get 27 and we will return that as our answer. So I hope I was able to explain you the approach here. So let's get it done with how to do that in code, right? Okay, now, so here we go. Okay, so what are we doing here basically? So basically we are given with the function average, so which is returning an integer, and that accepts two parameters. The first parameter is p and the second is n, and it can be interchangeable, not necessarily the same. And you have to be careful, like if in a coding competition they will only give you what are the parameters. It will be passing. But if they give in such a way that you have to write the entire code by yourself, you please make sure that the order of passing the parameters in the main function is same as the accepting the parameters in the function that you are writing, right? So you have to be a bit careful while accepting the parameters. Okay, now with that being said, let's move into the code now. So firstly, we have to find out the sum of first p multiples of integer n. So for that reason, I will initialize a variable sum and I will initialize it to 0. Now we have to find p multiples, right? So I'll start from 1, I'll go till p, and in the each iteration I'll increment it by 1, right? So first it will be 1, then 2, then 3. Now coming to this, what is this doing here? So sum plus is equal to n into I, which is basically equal as sum is equal to sum plus n into I, right? Now what is this n into I doing? So in the first iteration it is doing n into 1, in the second iteration n into 2, in the third iteration n into 3, and in the fourth iteration n into 4, and it goes on, and it will stop when n into p, right? So when the value of n becomes p plus 1, then the loop will not get executed because this condition will not be accepted. So after that, so we are able to find the sum, right? So after we find the sum, the next thing that we have to do is we have to divide that by p, right? So we will divide that by p. So sum divided by p, and we will just return that, right? So we don't, if we want to store it in an average variable, then you can do it that way as well. But since that is the last thing that we are trying to do, then that's not necessary to do. That's, you don't have to create one more variable and finally return. If you want to do it, you can do it, but not necessary. You can directly return sum divided by p. So I hope I was able to explain you the code properly as well. So now let's move to the second question, which is reverse the characters in the individual words of a given string. So basically, we will be given a string that may contain many number of words with the space separated, so which are space separated, right? So basically what we have to return is we have to return a string in such a way that, so firstly we have to reverse this first word, right? What is the first word here? The first word is coding. If we reverse it, what will happen? So GNIDOC, right? Now after that we have to reverse the second word, which is IS. So IS will become SI. And then we have to reverse the third word, which is awesome. If we reverse that, it will become EMOSEWA. And we have to return that as a final answer. Now, coming to the second test case. So first we will reverse hello. After reversing hello, what will happen? OLLEH. Then after that, we will have to reverse world. What is the reverse of world? The reverse would be DLROW. And finally, you will return entire answer. Now, the same thing applies for the third test case, which is hard work is the key. If you reverse this, what will happen? KROWDRAH. Then will reverse is. Yes, I. Reverse the. EHT. Reverse key. YEK. YEK. Yeah. So after this, we will return this entire thing as your answer. Now, so this is very simple if you talk in words, but this gets a bit complicated when we try to approach this on a code, right? Now we'll try to make it simple through writing steps one by one, right? So basically, so the first step says, so first step of the algorithm that we are trying to learn is, so we have to reverse the entire string, right? So reverse the entire string, right? Now, what will happen to the entire string? If we reverse the entire string, what will happen? So if you take this as an example, so basically, if we reverse the entire string, what will happen? So EMOSEWA, then a space, then SI, then GNIDOC, right? So basically, first we will reverse the entire string. Then in the second step, we will store that in an array. Store the reversed string in an array. Reversed string in an array where, so, and we have to store that string in such a way in the array that each element in the array denotes the word, right? So first element of the array would be this one, the second element would be this one, and the third element would be this one, right? So and if we come across the second test case, firstly we will reverse this. So after reversing, we will store in the array in such a way that the first word would be reversed world and the second word would be reversed hello, right? So in the same way for the third test case as well. Now firstly we'll reverse the entire string, then we will store the reversed string in an array where each element of the array describes the each word of the given reversed string, right? Now after you store the string, you store the reversed string in an array, the last thing that you have to do is you will just create an answer variable and you will initialize it to some null, right? Because initially you will have nothing. Now what we will do, so basically now you should try to map this, what is happening. So basically this is just the reverse of this, right? So if we reverse this array, if this is at 0th location, this is one location, this is the second position. Now see here, so this should come to second position, this should come to first position, this should come to 0th position, which means if this is an array, we just have to reverse this array. If we reverse this array, we'll get the result same as the required output. Now in the 0th position, this will come, in the first position, this will come, and in the last position, this will come if we try to reverse this array. Now what we have to do is, so instead now you can reverse this array and then you will start looping from the first position of the array will go on to the last position of the array. So you can do that way as well. But to reduce the time complexity, what you can do to reduce the time complexity in the sense to avoid that extra loop, what we can do is, so instead of reversing the array and then start looping from the first element of the array till the last element of the array, so to avoid that, what you can do is you can start looping from the last element of the array. Once you take a single word from the array, then you append that answer with a space, right? So basically what we will do is, first we will initialize answer as null string and then loop from the last element of the array, loop from the last element or last index, right? So we will loop from the last index of the array, and then what we will do is answer plus is equal to str of I, right? So str of I, and then answer plus is equal to a space, right? So to differentiate that, to differentiate two words in a given string, we will have to append a space there, right? So basically what will happen here, so we are trying to add this string, so this particular word to the answer first, then we are adding a space, then we are adding this to our answer, then we are appending a space, then we will be adding this to our answer. And finally, once you are done, once your I variable or iteration variable that goes out of bounds, which means -1, if it gets -1, then you will come out of the loop and you will return the required answer, right? Now we'll see this, how to do this in code, right? So in the code, so this is reverse word in a string, right? Okay, here we go. Now what we are doing here, so we are given a function called as reverse string that accepts a parameter of type string, and the name of the string is str, right? And the return type is also string, which which is quite obvious, right? Now so we will be using a string builder here because string builder has an inbuilt method reverse, so which will reduce the number of lines of code here, right? So if you want to write the reverse code by ourselves, then it will take more number of lines. So to save your time, what we can do is we can basically create an object of string builder with the current string, and then you can directly reverse that particular string. So first step is what? First you have to reverse the entire string. So first we will create a string builder object of that particular string, then we will reverse that particular string builder object. Then once you reverse that string builder object, you will again convert that back to the string data type, right? Because we want to store that particular string in an array, right? So for that reason, we will convert that string builder object again back to the string data type. And then after doing that, we will have to store that in an array. So we will create an array and of type string. And what we will do, we will split this reversal string in such a way that so each word will be stored in each position in an array, right? So this backslash s plus denotes, so backslash s means a space character, and this extra backslash is used as a escape character, right? Now this plus denotes one or more occurrences. If the string is having instead of one space, if it is having two spaces, then we will consider that also as a criteria here, right? So even if it consists of more than one spaces, then also you do not consider that space as an element in the array, but instead you only store the actual words in the array, right? So for that reason, we will use backslash yes plus, right? So this is a standard regex for splitting the string with in terms of spaces, right? Now we will store that in an array. Then finally, what was the third step here? So third step was actually to create a answer variable with a null value initially, and we will instead of reversing the array and then start looping from the first element, what we will do is we will start looping from the last element of the array, so last index of the array, and then we will go on till the first element of the array, right? So and in each iteration we will add the word, so we will add the word at that particular index, and then we will append a space character here to differentiate two words, right? Now so after this entire thing is done, we will directly return our answer whichever value is stored. So basically this will solve the given equation, given problem here. So to solve this, we'll try to run it once and we'll check how it runs, how it goes, right? So coding, okay, I'll zoom it out so that you will be able to see clearly. So coding is awesome. So this will be returned as, so first coding will be reversed, then is will be reversed, then awesome will be reversed. So this is how we will solve this question. So I hope I was able to explain you properly. So if in case you understood this problem, please like this video and share this among your friends so that it will help them as well. And the part 2 of this video is coming very shortly. So please stay tuned for this, and thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned. Bye bye.